Welcome back, growers. What's growing on? It's your boy John Henry Harris, and I'm here with Farmer Brown MC, and we're coming to you back again with another episode of B1AG. Black First Agriculture. How agriculture affects us and how we can take advantage of certain opportunities within agriculture for our community for socio-economic justice. All right. Now I will introduce you to Farmer Brown. Let's give the people some seeds for today.
Farmers and producers, farmers and producers, farmers and producers, black farmers and producers, drive your state, claim your fame. They can try, but they can't take us out this game. Build your legacy, reclaim your fame. Bad knees, but I'm still hooping in this game. Million black soldiers back in 1920. Now it's down to 50K and we like, where the money? Bring up reparations, people start to acting funny. Woke up from my slumber, now I need food on my tummy. Went to the agency, state level and fed. Pickford versus Glickman, farmers still ain't got they bread. Choke them out till they die out. Starve them out till they ply out. We can't be lazy, they like to say we try out. The tread of tears done dried. Reverse the great migration. Headed black to the garden. Run a own plantation. You can't eat no jump shot. Swag won't feed no nation. Black farmers and black farmers train black seeds for replacement. Black farmers and producers. Farmers and producers. Farmers and producers. Black farmers and producers. Drive your stake. Claim your fame. They can drive, but they can't take us out this game. Build your legacy. Reclaim your fame. Bad knees, but I'm still hooping in this game. Peace. Good morning. This is Farmer Brown MC. Back at it again. B1AG. I want the bag. So today, what we're going to talk about, once again, we talk about the business opportunities. We have all these lofty ideas of how we can reinsert ourselves back in the ag game. But I think for us to really understand not only the importance of it, but also having a practical understanding of the factors of why it is as it is, today we're going to go over a little bit of the Homestead Act of 1862, signed by President Abraham Lincoln. And this is just one of the many dynamics around why the melanated family isn't as involved in agriculture in what we call North America as we have been. So if you would grant me real quick, I'm going to go over the Homestead Act of 1862, and I'm just going to touch on the main parts of it. President Abraham Lincoln signed the Homestead Act on May 20th, 1862. 1862. On January the 1st, 1863, Daniel Freeman made the first claim under the act, which gave citizens or future citizens up to 160 acres. 160 acres of public land, provided they live on it, improve it, and pay a small registration fee. The government granted more than 270 million acres of land while the law was intact. Early methods for allocating unsettled lands outside the original 13 colonies were arbitrary and chaotic, meaning there was no order. Boundaries were established by stepping off plots from geographical landmarks. As a result, overlapping claims and border disputes were common. By 1800, minimum lot was halved to 320 acres, and settlers were allowed to pay in 4 installments, but price remained fixed at $1.25 an acre. $1.25 an acre. And then fast forward 62 years from 1800, land was just given away for free, up to 160 acres per person that just claimed it. So when we get into this discussion about agriculture, reestablishing our place in agriculture, I think the Homestead Act is just one of many that we can't just, glaze over it. I could read it in maybe 2 or 3 minutes. But when we think about the long-term impact, when we think about wealth building, when we think about the concept that land in and of itself continuously appreciates in value over time, you realize this is how wealth was built. Before there was a such thing as a dollar, a yen, a franco, a peso, wealth of an individual, a family, a community, a village was based on how much land do you have. How much space do you control? How much space are you able to utilize the resources that come naturally in this space? And so, with that, I just like to have this conversation today. What are the implications? And in a situation that we don't get reparations, what are we poised to do? We see that there's a severe disparity in how land has been distributed within the last 200 years. And so, as to not waste another second of our God-given energy on trying to argue it's something that intentionally done something, what is the intentional act that we can do as individuals in our homes, in our communities, as well as a collective effort?
Now, although the Homestead Act is no longer a part of common law, you can still file and declare for a homestead in over 27 states. And that is including Florida, Georgia, Idaho, Arizona, Alabama, Arkansas, California, Illinois, Kansas, Louisiana, Michigan, Minnesota, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, North Carolina, North Dakota, Ohio, Oklahoma, Oregon. And so what is the best way for us as people to take advantage of the Homestead Act? Because even though it's not a part of common law, you still can file for declaration and declare land for homestead, and there is still free land available.
There's a few pieces. There's a few pieces to that question. Great question. I think one more thing to add to this conversation. So by 1934, this was something that was put in place federally in 1862. So by 1934, over 1.6 million homestead applications were processed. Over 1.6 million. Not acres allotted, 1.6 million individuals applied for this process, and more than 270 million acres. More than 270 million acres have been passed into the hands of individuals. We know there's 1.9 billion acres of land in what we call North America. And so out of that, 270 million acres were given away through the Homestead Act. And so to tie it back around to the original question that you asked, how do we access it? Like I said, there are federal programs. Personally, I would say the USDA is a great resource to kind of gain your knowledge on what is available. But I would also caution, just on a practical level, I wouldn't base any of my immediate emergency plan on any outside faction, whether it's nationally, whether it's the international. I wouldn't base that on something coming in to give. The Homestead Act, in the sense of human history, was an anomaly. I can't think of any other history and time where I've known of 270 million acres of a wealth yielding land, what we call land, would just be given away based on, hey, I just need you to come here and fill out some paper, put it in the mailbox and send it. Let's be honest, we're in a digital age now, and so just like as me and you, we're kind of late in the game coming into understanding the Homestead Act, the viability of all of this free land and resources available. We're coming late in it, so you got to factor in there's people that have understood these advantages, shortcuts, and resources for a long time. And so once again, this is the importance of having a collective effort. I've been fortunate to meet a few farmers, a few individuals who've been able to capitalize on some of these programs, and they are real programs. Even if they're coming from agencies, entities that have historically been a detriment, they're positive programs. But what happens is the spread of this information. Upon me getting this information, whether my local extension agent sent it to me, whether I saw a post on somebody's Instagram or Facebook, what is the time between I got this information when I can actually take action on it? So this is another thing. As an individual, I can tell you it's definitely a fight. Once again, anything of value, you're going to pay for it. And so this goes back to the importance of being able to work in collectives. This goes back to the importance of being able to pool resources together. Just in case you go to this loan office to secure this land and they say, no, are you still poised to go ahead with it anyway? Just in case you filed for this free land that's available. If there's a waiting list for the free land available, what kind of team or mechanism do you have in place to take advantage of what's for sale? And so once again, this whole B1AG concept is being prepared for whatever, being flying any weather.
So, Farmer Brown, who were the ones who benefited the most from the initial Homestead Act of 1862?
Owns 98% of the land in North America. I'm reverting to Neely Fuller Jr. now. We get answers through questions. Who owns 90% of the land in North America? If you put into perspective how long it would take, okay, so I have a boat that came here in 1600, 1800, whatever these years are, what is it, 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue. How long would it have taken an individual to secure that much land legally? If we go back to the feudal way of getting land, okay, I have to come with a sword. I have to come with my ships. I have to come with my army to take this from you. And so we know an acre of land is a relatively large space to one individual. And so you got to think of the effort put into being able to secure this land. So to answer this question, you've answered your own question. If you know who owns 98% of the land now, then you know who benefited from it. That's not something that you saw. It wasn't that much blood spilled. It was blood of our ancestors spilled, but a lot of that is legalese, as the ancestors would say, forked tongues. These are a lot of land deeds and contracts signed with X's from people who never spoke the language of the people coming over here talking about, hey, all this space over here, I know your culture doesn't recognize property or ownership. Your culture doesn't recognize the concept of I own this, you can't come here. You know, we come from a communal stock of individuals. And so here's this piece of paper in front of you. Just take this little red marker and sign this X and, go about your day. Next thing you know, something's coming to you, a marshal, a sheriff. Hey, you can't be right here where your teepee is, your hut, your mound. You can't be here because you see on this paper, it was you to sign this red X. So saying that to say, this is why education, this is why understanding history is very important. I know what you want me to say, that WS word, and it's not a fear of saying it more so than it's almost agitating to keep giving power to something that we're aware that is there. So it comes a point, what are we going to do about it? Who owns 90% of the land in North America? We realize how was this land obtained? And so we look at, okay, now what can we do to obtain it? If it's this thing called fiat and paper that it takes to be able to procure this space, if as an individual I can't do it, what kind of networking skills do I have? What kind of community do I have? Do I have family that's already had land? I would say for anybody that's watching, the first thing you do is make sure you've connected with your elders, connect with your family in the deep south or up north in the Midwest that had land. First, before I go try to buy land, is there land that already exists that needs to be protected? I've been fortunate just over the course of my journey talking to elders. I realized we have acres and acres down in Louisiana. I realized there's some properties in Mississippi. These are things that were never discussed when I was growing up. It was never brought to me that there was a such thing as a ag enterprise concept. This was just, hey, auntie got this, uncle had this. I remember people used to pick greens and peas from this backfield. And so first thing is going back, who already has land? That needs to be protected. Like you said, through the pen sometimes is mightier than the sword. Through the pen, a lot of our land is getting sold away. A lot of the younger generation that doesn't understand the value in land ownership sells it away. I have an uncle that sold 40 acres for a Cadillac. This was, don't make me lie, I know it was in the early 1900s. But saying that to say, we have more information now. We understand the value of land now. And so if I have great-grandmom, if I have granddad, Baba, that still exists, let me go to him. Hey, do we have these assets? What can be produced there? For somebody wanting to get into it, I won't sell you any wolf tickets and say it's going to be an easy transition. Because, okay, yeah, there's a lot of land that you can buy, but once again, we'll go back to our conversation about Bill Gates. I don't want just any land. I don't want a whole bunch of land with hills and rocks. There's nothing I can do but maybe hike and run a four-wheeler. I want something that's going to yield. So once again, this is where coming up with the codified specific approach. What it is that we need. We need arable land and production. We know we're surrounded by 1.9 billion acres just on this end, but not only that, do we have family farms that already have it? Do we already have family lands that already have land? How can we, as somebody wanting to get into it, help them, be of service to them to keep what they have? In turn, the experience we gain by helping somebody who already has something, we're able to procure our own and make better use of what we procure. Because we're not in a situation where we can waste time. You know, this is something that needs to be done yesterday. And once again, this is a great opportunity and platform to just have this discussion continuously.
Now, this morning we do have a special guest. We have we talk about on here, we talk about a lot of concepts, history, applications of agriculture. But this morning we do have an actual black farmer, young guy, Tyson Graves out of Danville, Kentucky of Imperial Farms. And we're going to bring him on to our discussion this morning. And so everybody give him a big round of applause, a salute, for Tyson Graves, Danville, Kentucky.
How's it going, fellas? Getting a little technical difficulties here, I see. There it goes. I'm Tyson Graves from Imperial Farms. Also with me today is my fiance, Brita Wells.
Hey, everybody.
Co-owner of Imperial Farms. Our farm is located in Washington County, Kentucky. We have 155 acres. We do cattle, beef cattle. Also have a hosting operation, steers, and we did hemp last year, and also tobacco for 2 years.
So can you hear me? Okay, so when we have this ag discussion, once again, this whole concept of B1AG, how do we frame this conversation around lifting the black community? This isn't a thing against another group. This is a thing of how can we be the best that we are? How can we work with the resources, the ingenuity, the genetic experience that we have to make a better situation for ourselves and in turn the world? So when we think about that, what is your history in agriculture? Like my partner Hen said, you're a young fellow. The average farmer right now in North America is 65 years old. And so if you go to the average elementary school, whether you're in Southside Chicago to rural Kentucky, the average child, when you say the word farmer, doesn't see a melanated man and woman as a farmer. This is something we can say this is a horrible dynamic or it's something to be improved. What is your history in agriculture? How did you get to this point where, there's all of these cities that some of our ancestors went to, worked in factories? What gave you the intuition to work on a farm, to stay on a farm, to operate a farm? And what are the benefits of doing so?
I want to say I always had a passion for farming. I consider myself a third generational farmer. My grandfather was a dairy farmer. And my father he does a beef cattle operation. Farming is always something that I just wanted to do, to be able to produce your own foods and vegetables and all that is a great thing. And also it's a rarity. I can't say I got into it. I had a little push from my fiance. She jumped in it with me. We've been on the farm ourselves for 2 years now, and we just been at it. We also work a full-time job, so we got 2 full-time jobs: full-time farming and Ford Motor Company. But it's been a experience, I tell you. But we definitely enjoy what we do.
Love it, love it.
Brother, I'm so glad you brought that up about the sister, the queen. One of the dynamics that affected when we think about the Great Migration, when a lot of families went up north from the south, it was funny. The first time I heard of it, it was in class, and they were going over the social dynamics going on, where the woman saying, I want to go up north, where the juke joints are. I don't want to stay on this old farm with you, man. And right away, I want to go where there's life, where there's industry. And that's a real dynamic, and I feel like the queens have every right to want a better quality of life. I mean, that's what it's about. You want to get to the next generation, have a better quality of life. But I'm very new in this journey. Like, I'm not a multi-generational producer at all. And so I found when I got into the work, once I realized that black people weren't represented within this field, it is almost like trying to find a leprechaun, trying to find black producers and farmers. It's like trying to find a leprechaun. And then when you deal with all of the social dynamics involved, the finances, how important is it to have a strong sister on your side in this endeavor? How much of a difference has it made in the broader operation and how effective you are as a producer?
It helps tremendously. I can't say it could be done without her. It has been a journey, as you say, from as far as finding other farmers that look like us in the whole U.S., not alone the state of Kentucky, but it's important that there be more black farmers. It's a tough business to be in, especially when you're the minority. Give you an example. We sold cattle once, and our cattle come through. It was selling top of the day as far as pound wise, and then all of a sudden a fella shouts out, "These two do a great job with their cattle," and
Yeah, everybody looked at us and seen that we were black, and it was over.
And then after that, everything went down 20-30 cents a pound. I mean, that was pretty tough on us, but we also coming into this, we expected it. It's a lot of hurdles you have to go through trying to even get a loan. But
information, even you don't get any information from any of them. You gotta kind of find out yourself.
Yeah, you gotta dig. You gotta dig in yourself. I mean, there's all kind of obstacles that's been put in your way, but we are soul survivors, as you say, us Manilan people, and we can overcome
just about anything. Gonna stop. We ain't gonna stop.
So when we think about these hurdles, and I love what you said, coming into it, you already assumed. If we're to look at this just in a natural frame, it is the organism, the animal, the human being that overcomes the most stressors, the most crisis situations, that becomes more, I guess, formidable in that environment when we put it on a natural framework. When you're dealing with the economy, one of the concepts of B1AG, we're just wanting to have this conversation, get many people, especially like yourself at the table, who are deep into this. So how can we support one another? In my short time doing this work, I've come across a lot of people that ask, oh man, this makes so much sense. How can I help? And I'm knowing, okay, I got a small garden. It's really not a dollar amount you can give to me per se that's going to help this bigger problem. It's not a compliment isn't going to help the issues that are going on. Somebody putting you in a magazine, highlighting you on a TV news channel isn't going to fix that situation. So in your mind, what role in a magical world where everything's perfect, what role would a black community play in wanting to enhance, say, just your operation? Obviously, there's 390 million people in the United States that eat. You grow your livestock, you take your time to make sure they're fed, they're healthy. And so that doesn't have a color other than the color of the meat. And so we realize that you have a product that is valuable. How can the community that you're a part of, that you were born into, be support? If somebody came along and said, "Hey, I want to get involved in this. I really don't want to touch no animals, but I love what they're saying. I can get the concept." How can people actually help outside of compliments and symbolism?
I would say, well, if you know our operation or whatever, just there's always your own niche. It could be advertising, selling our products, buying our products wholesale, making extra money. There's a lot. Just basically support. What do you think, man?
Yeah, support, buying products from each other, sharing information. Um, basically it, yeah.
Yeah, support and
Trade and barter, basically.
trade and barter. Like
I help you, you help me. We can help each other.
exactly. A lot of things. Us starting into this, a lot of things we didn't have starting, and a big thing is equipment. If I had one piece of equipment and another farmer had the other, we could swap back out. Barter. Uh, to be in the game in the cattle, I say game, same thing, but just to be in it alone it is tough, but with help, and we're lucky to have a great support system as far as farming. I have my dad. He's more, I say, my farm manager and mentor all in one. If I'm not doing something right, he definitely lets me know if I don't agree with him. But in the long run, he's always right most of the time, and it's just the support. Um,
Just
it's
sharing the know-how.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
know-how.
And just helping each other out.
Yeah, helping each other out.
We need it in this field. Everybody needs help, and
Yeah.
we can help somebody, and they can help us.
It don't always have to be in the field with a hoe or a rake or anything like that. It could just be sharing information. That could be a big part also.
So once again, you keep hitting on the main points. You keep hitting on the main points. You brought up your father. Okay, I'm doing this thing. I'm effective at it, but you realize, okay, there's always a better way to do it. And there's that elder layer, that elder wisdom of experience. I've been through this, son, many times over. I've seen that you do this ain't gonna work. You try this might work. What is the value of that connection, whether it was your father or just people who have lived at a time before what we're experiencing right now? What is the value of that relationship, and how within your operation, how valuable would you say that is? Just having somebody that has your vested interest. Your father is obviously not trying to get you to sign something predatory. Your father has a vested interest in his son, building the empire, building the family, the family business, so to speak. What value does that have if you're talking to, say, because we have some people now that are in cities. We can make money. I can do this all by myself. I don't need no man, or I don't need no woman. How valuable is that elder wisdom?
Oh man, value wise, you couldn't put a price on it. Um, we without our mentorship and help, we would have been
made a lot of mistakes, more than what we have made already.
Yes, definitely make some mistakes. To always have someone to pull their coattail, or to give a call and say, "Hey, this is not looking right. What do you think?" It's no value to that.
We don't want to hold up too. Can you hear me? Okay, we don't want to hold up too much of your time, but another thing with B1AG, we want to talk on other topics because I tend to believe that everything going on in the world around us right now, either directly or indirectly, is going to tie into our relationship with the land, our ability to produce from the land, whether you're talking about products that we consume or products we build with. So in recent news, we're going to put Harriet Tubman on the $20 bill, replacing Andrew Jackson. Symbolically, hey, I've never lived in America where there was somebody represented within my group on a form of currency. But practically speaking, because with farmers, farmers can't put things on. Oh, this just feels so good. I'm out here planting. Like you have to be very specific and intentional with everything you're doing to get the yield you want. Saying that to say, I don't know if you've ever been to the place in D.C. where they print the money. There's going to be millions, I would say hundreds of millions of dollars put in just to changing the templates. There's so many things where money's gonna have to be spent to change this money to be a $20 bill featuring the elder or the ancestor Harriet Tubman. In practical speaking, if it took $100 million, say, to transfer that over, what would $100 million infusion do, in your opinion, in your experience, to black farmers? A specific $100 million that you don't have to pay back interest. And I'm getting to this concept of reparations. I tend to lean on, I don't want to waste too many minutes of my life waiting on that to happen. I mean, I hope it would, but as a farmer, as an actual producer, what would $100 million infusion do to your spread out amongst the other 33,000 black farmers in America, 33,000 out of 3.5 million? What would $100 million do for your operation? If it was spread out, obviously you're not just getting $100 million, but if on a federal level, all of the agencies, all of the other things that's kind of impeded this trickle down concept of getting to the black farmers, if all of those loopholes were out of the way and there was just $100 million a pot, and this goes into the equipment, how would you be able to utilize knowing that there was a resource like that?
Definitely be game changer. As I said earlier, equipment is a big thing that you need on the farm. Equipment, I mean, $100 million spread out between farmers they would definitely repair some damage from done over the years. As far as new infrastructure, they could put on the competitive level. That's on the farm. There's never nothing to do. So there's always something that could be improved. But as far as is given to black farmers in general, it would be tremendous.
Equipment is like number one on the farm. You need equipment for everything.
Yeah, equipment, or you could look at it in the aspect of being able to put up your own grocery stores, supply grocery stores with farm products, black farm products. Also, to bring up SunJoin, I spoke with actually two of the fellas, and also CJ from Simply Made. He's talking about a vision of having SunJoin beef or SunJoin fresh, which would have been vegetables. Just something like that, to be able to put your product out to more people and also expand your operation. That would that money would just help out tremendously in any aspect of farming.
I'm glad you brought SunJoin. One of the themes on here is maybe you're somebody that doesn't like to get outdoors. Maybe you're allergic to everything. Maybe I have so much going on in this urban space I'm in, or my job or family. I might have a little extra income or a talent, but I don't have time. I met Lamar a few years ago, and I met Lamar through Bitcoin and just his blockchain experience. But through SunJoin, he's literally And I mean, I've watched some of this growth, but he's literally turned just the idea, a skill set that he's good at as far as galvanizing people, bringing people together, understanding markets, understanding his role within the broader global what is it called, blockchain network. He's been able to leverage that into agriculture. He's been able to leverage that into actually creating a space where producers are able to sell. If we have some young people right now that are, don't necessarily want to go outside, but they're very good with their technology and they have these networks, can you briefly, I guess, go into detail a little bit more? How is that son join meeting somebody who's not necessarily a farmer, but understands a whole different dynamic of the game? How beneficial has that relationship been?
Just to be able to get your product out. Actually, we're working on a couple products here at Imperial Farms, also hemp CBD derived products. Just to be able to have that outlet to send your product to get distributed all over the world is excellent. Actually, excellent idea, excellent concept, and
Good for the business aspect of it.
great for business and also networking. Not only all people, but mostly people of our same hue.
Absolutely. Last question. I don't want to take up too much of your time because I know you're working, man, right? So, like I said, we have no telling who's watching, but I'm a believer that whatever's said, whether it's one person, 100, 1 million, what needs to be heard is going to be heard. If you're going to pass down a practical gem, very, very real, not, we don't like to sell dreams and wolf tickets here. What is the best advice you would give to somebody that's looking, might have scrolled through and saw this and saw that there's a black farmer speaking that's not older, doesn't fit the archetype of what we've been shown of a farmer? What is the first advice you would give to somebody just starting? They're ambitious, they have a little bit of capital to work with, but don't know where to start. What would you say are the first steps?
First steps I would say is get your farm plan together. Something you got down on paper, because if you don't have it down on paper and you just jump into it, it's going to be a lot of things forgot that could be important down the road. And also just stick with it. Don't get discouraged at all. I don't know what financing, depending what finances you use or whatever. There's a lot of headache that comes with just paperwork in general, and hurdles you have to overcome. But just stick with it. Learn as much as you can, and it goes back to have you a good support team around you.
Cool.
Excuse me, Tyson, I do have a question for you. Now, you said you and your wife both have full-time jobs as well as farming. So it's a two-part question. So what does your daily life look like? Like, how much time do you actually spend out there working on the farm daily? And also, how do you eat? Because, if you're producing all this food, I don't think I would like our watchers are to understand that you're creating this food, but you're creating it for yourself as well. So could you also tell how much time do you actually spend a day working on the farm as well as your full-time job? But how does it affect the way you eat personally?
Would you like this? Okay. As far as working on the farm, we're there
It's a 24/7 job.
24/7. Like I said, we work at Ford Motor Company, so on the days that we do work, we can work anywhere from 10 to 11 hours. We usually have an hour drive back to the farm. Then we're there to do our duties. maybe a couple hours on the work days, but on our off days, actually running a little bit behind today, but we had help this morning. But we're there damn near till the sun goes down every day. And as far as eating, Brita, she put out an excellent garden this year.
Well, we've been eating plenty of tomatoes and cucumbers. I made pickles, zucchini. We've been eating casseroles. We've been eating a lot of vegetables.
Yes, we've been eating mostly vegetables. Actually, we haven't got any of our cattle processed for beef. Our operation, we do calf pairs. So once our baby cows get 500 pounds, we usually sell them. But we're also looking into uh, changing the operation to where we'll be able to sell cattle that could be slaughtered at a much higher weight.
But we definitely would like to thank Tyson Graves and his wife for joining us today, giving us an insight into what B1AG actually looks like. And we're going, hopefully, we can continue to expand your vision of what agriculture farming looks like and how we can, and how you can see yourself in this world of agriculture. So again, we'd like to thank you once again, Tyson Graves and his wife, the Graves of Imperial Farms in Danville, Kentucky. Continue doing your work. We wish you much love and success and prosperity in 2021. And thank you for helping us to make us healthier. Uh, again, salute to y'all in Danville, Kentucky. And everyone out there, we're going to continue this story. We're going to continue telling you about B1AG, agriculture, as it relates to us as melanated people. And also, as we do every day, if you really want to know something,
Learn how to grow something.
y'all be blessed. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you tomorrow.